ask our team to briefly introduce yourselves for any newcomers that we may have. So Amy?
Hi everyone, I'm Amy Dubose. I'm the Disaster Mental Health Team Lead for Western New York and Central New York regions. And I'm currently losing my voice, so I will be monitoring the chat and letting Skip and Latifa take control today. But it's so good to see so many familiar faces and names. Just glad you guys are all here with us today. Skip?
Well, hi, everybody. Skip Zimmerman here. I'm the coordinator for the Disaster Mental Health Program. And I look forward to connecting with you as we get into the SharePoint conversation in a little bit. And I will pitch over to Pat Riley.
Hi, everybody. Good afternoon. My name is Patrick Riley. I am the Emergency Response Coordinator for the Office of Mental Health. I'm part of the Bureau of Emergency Response here in Central Office in Albany. And I will go ahead and hand it back off to Latifa.
Okay. Caroline, introduce yourself.
Yeah, hi everybody. My name is Caroline Cantillo. I am the statewide disaster mental health trainer. I'm sure I've met some of you in training. So it's great to see you.
And Mike?
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Mike Bigley, and I'm a program consultant to the Beeper office. And I have a fairly long history with disaster mental health and an even longer history with mental health in general. So I'm here to help if anybody needs it.
Thank you. I think we got everyone, and certainly want to mention our director of Beeper is Paula Tambasco.
He's on too.
So you'll
guys.
you're gonna say?
Yeah, I can say hello. Hi everyone.
Okay.
Here, and just want to thank you all for being part of our statewide team and participating and working with us and continuing on deployments. There's so many things that are going on that continue to go on, and so we appreciate your dedication to the team. Thank you.
Yes, so thank you. We are going to be using the chat, so please, if you have questions or comments, you can drop them in there and we will address them in the latter half of the meeting if you just be patient with us. So thank you so much for that. So again, a couple updates so that we can get to the highlight, which is SharePoint. Training. Please know that there are a number of scheduled trainings across the state in various regions that are on the calendar for 2026. So if you have shared your experience as a responder with any of your colleagues and they're interested, please let them know. They can reach out to us. Our information is in the chat. You can send it to our general mailbox at DMH, OMH, or you can reach out to Amy or Skip or myself for more information. But I did want to again highlight that there's too many to mention, but we have a number of trainings coming up. And then also, if you are due for a refresher, which we recommend every 3 years, please be sure to make arrangements, get approval from your supervisor, and come join us. So additionally, I just wanted to add that we, as we continue to train OMH staff, we do also work with the counties across the state. We're helping them to establish or reestablish their local county teams. And so that's another part, that's some other parts of the work that we're doing. Again, just to let you know what all is happening here, and each county is developing or has developed a disaster mental health plan. So we stay pretty busy over here in Beeper. Next, I want to cover the special topics trainings, which Skip can show you in SharePoint, but we have 3 of them coming up. The first one is on March 24th. It's entitled Supporting Survivors Following Mass Violence. And then we have 2 in the summer, supporting children and families in disasters, and high needs populations. And so calendar invites have been sent out for those. In addition to, when we see the SharePoint, you'll see that they're also, that's another place that you can locate that information. And again, you can always reach out to us for more information. April 21st, I believe everyone received a save the date. Skip is excited. That's our next live exercise where we do a simulation of an event. This will be our fourth one, I believe. If you have not had the opportunity to participate, please consider doing so. Again, get approval. It's a really great opportunity to exercise the skills that you've learned in training, and keep your skills sharp as well. So um, the registration for that will be forthcoming, but again, that'll be April 21st, and that's in Oriskany, New York. That's in the Utica area. So a little bit of travel depending on where you come from, but it's well worth it. So we hope that you'll join us. Again, especially if you haven't been able to attend in the past, please consider joining us. Lastly, I want to talk about deployments. So 2026 is still fairly new. I mean, we're just in March, but we have had 3 deployments so far. On site at Kingsborough PC, we provided support. We were 2 days at Kirby PC, and then also provided support at 2 locations in New York City and Albany for the Department of State in response to a tragic loss that they experienced. So again, the year is already off to a busy start, which is why we absolutely need you all. And again, so that was on site. And then we also had our warm line, our phone line up and running for a couple of weeks in January, and then for the month of February on Thursday evenings. And so again, thank you all for supporting that. It's really needed. And so we'll see what the rest of 2026 brings. And just a few reminders around deployments. Please know that regardless of the time or day of deployment, you must have supervisory approval. We want to make sure that everyone is clear on what their staff are engaged in. This is a work assignment, so if you need to adjust your hours, please discuss that with your supervisor. And if you're traveling anywhere, please be sure to follow OMH travel policies. So just again, friendly reminder about that. And I think at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Skip, who is going to show you the highlight of our day, which is the SharePoint site. And hopefully you all find this very useful, and I will leave the rest for him to further discuss.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you, Latifa, and thanks everybody. It is really fun to see you all here and to be with you today. These kinds of gatherings are lots of fun for us too. We don't get to see as many of you in one room as we'd like to. So this is a great opportunity. Today, we are really excited to bring to you and unveil the new SharePoint. We've been working on this for a couple of years, in fact, and we are really excited to bring it to you as a resource and as a platform for communication and a little bit further understanding of how you can engage as a disaster mental health responder. So if you don't mind, I'm going to share my screen and we'll just kind of walk through it together. All of you should have received an invitation to join this SharePoint. If you did not receive that email, there was actually a heads up email from us, and then you should have gotten an automated email once your email address was added to the system. But if you did not get that or can't find it, please reach out to us and we will make sure that you have access to this, because it is a great resource for responders. There's lots of good information here, so we want to go through it with you today, and we'll just sort of navigate it together. We want to invite you at the same time, if you have the link, and maybe we can put the link in the chat if it's not there already. You can follow along on your own computers, your own screens if you'd like to. You can also do your own exploration through the SharePoint site. And as always, this is a new tool, so we're interested in your feedback on this tool as well. So, if you have suggestions or recommendations for improvement or items that should be here, we will be vetting all the items that we put up. So we're not just going to allow folks to add anything that they want to, but if you have a suggestion, we would love to hear from you, because sometimes you have access to items that are really good for our purposes, and we might not have even heard of them yet. So if you have documents or other thoughts, we'd love to see those. So let's wade right in. We are looking at the home page of the SharePoint, and this is accessible really through the Office 365 process. If you want to go through it there, you can get to it through your web browser as well. And we would recommend that once you get to this location, that you bookmark it or save the link in some other way so that you can get back to it fairly easily. I do note that if I go to my sites over here on the left-hand side, all of the sites that I use as SharePoints are available. So you may find it there as well for you. And you have to be in the Office 365 to be able to do that. So let's start with the home page, and we're very grateful to Amy for her design on the front page here. But I want to scroll down here a little bit and let you know that if you ever need to get in touch with us, it's very clear that our email address is here. This is a general email inbox that we all look at. So if one of us is not available, someone else will pick up your message. So that's the best way to get in touch with us and get an immediate answer or a fairly quick answer to a question. And then as I scroll down even further, we'll note that there are some entries from the calendar that are showing up here. And this is one of the things that Latifa mentioned before. You see our Friday weekly guided self-care drop-ins that Caroline runs, and we want to invite you to join us for those. Those are about a half an hour on Friday afternoons, and they are really lovely. They're a great way to kind of end the week and sort of find a good calming space if you need that. And then certainly the special topics trainings and some other events that are showing up here as well that are in the calendar. So you can click on one of these. Let's say you want to go to the August 18th supporting high needs populations training. We click on that and it opens up the calendar item. And we're going to wait for a second while it does that, because it's not opening it up right now. Well, we're going to hit the back button at this point and go back to that. Anyway, that's one way that you should be able to see the calendar items when they're up here. But we'll make sure that that's working for the future. So that's essentially the home page. And to get back to the home page, you see over here on the left-hand side, there's a navigation toolbar. So we just go back to home, or you can hit your back button if that's where if you're coming from somewhere else that you went from the home page to. So home, that's really kind of the landing page for us here, and it's your gateway into the rest of the website. Let's talk a little bit about the documents. This is where we want to spend most of the time today. So I'm just going to click on documents here, and you'll see a directory tree here, folder directory, with a number of items that might be of interest to responders. We'll go through each one of these quickly, but the first one is really about some of the generalized information about the Bureau. So if we click on this, we'll see some documents in here. Our training description is there. So if you have questions about that, and then this document here, if I open it up, is really just about the services that we offer. And we've had to create that because a number of folks have been wondering what might happen if we do respond to support someone at either an OMH facility or out in the community. So that's a description there. those kinds of activities. And that's really describing what you all do. So I'm going to have to go back to the documents here. The deployment documents section is probably one of the most important ones that you'll spend the most time in here. So let's take a look at that. If I go into deployment documents, there are three directories here. The first one is about deployment, so it's deployment guidance. And then there are two sets of resources. The first are resources for you all, resources for responders, things that you might want to be thinking about or tools that you might need to use and want to use when you're deployed. And so we want to invite you to really explore this when you have the chance to take a look and see what resources and tools are available for you here. We'll look at a couple of them now, but really we're just going to take the time to kind of point out where they are for you. The other section, and we'll start with this one, are resources for survivors. These are those printed materials that we typically will have available for you when you deploy. But if you ever need to get to them and maybe print them off yourselves, or if you're running to a location and we haven't had time to set things up yet, you may be asked to take a look at these and either copy some off and print them off. But you'll see here that there are a large number of the kinds of helping documents that we typically make available for responders to hand out to clients, to disaster survivors, to those who might need our assistance. And these are typically things to look out for, so psychoeducational kinds of pieces. They might describe typical reactions, stress reactions, et cetera. And they also describe how to care for other people. So if you've got, let's say, a family member who's worried about other family members, maybe children, and they want to know how to support children after a disaster, there are documents here that can help them do that. And you're welcome to access those. We'll have most of those printed out for larger scale responses, but you may need to grab those before you're deployed. And we just want to make sure that they are available to you here as well. So if I go back up, I'm going to go back to the documents section again to do this. So deployment documents, resources for responders, same kinds of things, more documents here that will assist you in your deployments. So we do have a section on high needs populations, things that you might find valuable there. There's a whole section here on language support. So I just popped into those three. These are really documents that make available to you the tools that that OMH makes available and the state has available when you are when you're in a situation where you may need to be working in another language or having interpretive services, et cetera, assist you in your work. So those are available to you there as well. All right, so if you note up here, this is what I was looking for before, Amy. Right up at the top here, this is the easiest way to navigate back where you want to go. So if I want to go back to resources for responders, I would click here, and that takes me back to that section of the directory. So there's some disaster mental health signage here as well. These are pre-created signs that you can print off and might direct people to where you're hanging out during a deployment. If you're at a table somewhere, or if you're down a hall in a specialized room, you may want to put up signs to assist people to get to you and find where our services are being offered. And if you're unfamiliar or want to refamiliarize yourself with the psychological first aid skills, they're here as well in a document that you can print off as well. And then, so let's look at the deployment guidance piece. So here we have two major file folders. The first one are your role descriptions. And so these are really, and we're hesitating to use the word job description because they're not OMH job descriptions. These are the functional descriptions of what responders do when they're deployed. So there's one that covers what the responder does. There's one that covers what a team lead at your psychiatric centers or other facilities might be doing. And there's one to cover what the shift supervisor typically does. So if you're being asked to be a shift supervisor and you're unsure, that information is right here. And you can open up any one of these documents and take a look at those as well. The travel piece is probably the one that most people will have the most questions about and want to spend the most time in. You might have heard us talking, and I see people looking close at your screen. So I'll make this a little bit bigger so you can see that. I see you, Jeanette. Yeah. So this is where we have wanted to use this SharePoint to let people have access to this kind of information because it's not always easy to find. But these are the OMH policies or links to those policies around how to do travel. So it's everything from setting up travel, the policies and procedures. You know, when we say, hey, you're going to deploy, please follow OMH procedures. This is what we're talking about. Or please follow OMH travel policies. For instance, if you would like to apply for a T card, a travel card, these are limited credit cards that can be used for making travel arrangements. They cannot be used for things like food or purchases, but they can be used for gasoline. They can be used to rent vehicles. They can be used to buy tickets on a train or an airplane, and they can be used to set up hotels. We would recommend that everybody who is a responder have one of these in their hip pocket, ready to use if you need to. So the information on getting that travel credit card is right here. You will need your supervisor's support. You can also go through your business office to manage all of this as well. But we want you to know that it's available here for you to take a look at when you need to. So that is the travel piece. Now, why can't I get back to it again? Oh, that's why. Okay, there we go. All right. And then there's a deployment guide here, some more services and activation information. And then there's a piece on just preparing to deploy. If you're not familiar on what to do just prior to leaving home and being ready to deploy, this is information from SAMHSA on how to be ready, not only physically prepared, but also mentally prepared to be deployed into a disaster kind of situation. So that's that piece, right? Let me pause and just see any questions showing up in the chat at this stage.
There was a question about the high needs population folder being empty. And I was
Oh, it
just
might have
actually
been.
going to respond to that, this is a live, these are live documents. So we'll be able to add and change things and remove things and, things like that as time goes on. But that's a really great question. And if you guys ever do find things that are missing, please let us know. We're all humans, so I'm sure we'll miss a folder or two. But yeah, I think, and then also there's going to be empty folders as we get the YouTube links added on there too. So
Thanks, Amy. And we are trying to preserve your voice today. So you can maybe use some sign language to let us know what you're saying next time. All right, well, so deployment documents, those are probably some of the biggest tools that are available for you here. We also have a section on some maps here, a wide variety of maps that you might want to need to use if you are being deployed. Check those out. Maps around where the locations for OMH facilities are, where the docks and CBO facilities are, et cetera. We also have one here, if you're interested, is New York VOADs and COADs. VOAD stands for Voluntary Organizations Active in Disaster, and COAD stands for Community Organizations Active in Disaster. These are the organizations where folks who are volunteering to be active in the disaster can go to work. So for example, an example of a VOAD nationwide or even international VOAD is the American Red Cross. So you know that sometimes people volunteer for the Red Cross and they get deployed into disaster zones as well. Often emergency managers will insist that someone be aligned with one of these kinds of organizations before they can be allowed to help out at a disaster operation. So so you may hear about spontaneous volunteers being directed to one of the VOADs or one of the COADs in order to get onboarded, trained, and ready to go before they're allowed to assist in the relief operations. So that's why these are here as well. So you'll see Red Cross regions are listed here on the map as well. If you're interested in responder engagement kinds of activities, this is where we're keeping all of our newsletters and some other information that might be of interest. So if you missed a newsletter along the way, or you can't find the email that it was sent to you on, by all means, you can go here, and at some point we will upload all the past ones here that aren't here yet. Okay, but most of them I think are already there. Sorry, I have to change the size in order to go back to that navigation piece there. This is probably one of the more important areas as well that we want to bring your attention to, and that is responder self-care. There are some good documents here for you to take a look at that describe not only how to be ready for deployments and maybe how to think and be ready for after a deployment, because sometimes that can be a little difficult for folks to kind of return to daily life after the excitement and the stress of a disaster relief deployment. But also just some thinking about how you can really take care of yourself and others while you are deployed. We have been really intentional so far about really trying to support a culture of self-care across our disaster mental health family, and we really want to make sure that you're spending time on you and making sure that you are ready to be the calm one in the room when everybody else is not, right? So that's what this section is all about. And we have a resident expert on that. I'm sure we have lots more in the population of responders, but Caroline Cantillo is really our leader for self-care and other mindfulness kinds of practices. So we're really grateful to her and all the resources that she's brought to the table here as well. And then finally, under documents, you see one folder called training. And this will be descriptions of the trainings and a place where we are keeping some of our training documentation. So this will include where you can get links to the special topics training. If you don't see them on an email, they are in here as well. So that's on the second one here, OMH Learning Collaboratives and Special Topics Trainings. And here they are by title. You click on there, and when you go in, you'll see a link to a YouTube video, and you can participate in the training that way if you weren't able to make it with us when it was live. Okay. So again, I'm sorry, I have to make this small in order to go back to where I was. So recommended additional training, again, we only have a couple of trainings that are required for all of you. The rest are optional, they're recommended. Some are highly recommended. So let's take a look at that one really quickly here. So there's training available through FEMA on the incident command structure. And we would like to recommend that everybody at least have an awareness of what the incident command structure looks like and how you might fit into that during a disaster response, because all disaster responses are going to be managed using this platform and this structure. So it's helpful to have a little bit of understanding about what that looks like. The other piece is preparedness training. This will take you to links around what what's known in New York State as Citizens Preparedness Corps, which is really for the public on how to be ready for disasters. And the reason why we're recommending that for you all is because there may come a time when something as large scale as a Hurricane Sandy hits us again. And when that happens, many of us may also be disaster affected at the same time when we're being asked to support communities and neighbors, et cetera. And so if you and your family are prepared, if you have a plan in place for your family, if you have a kit built and you're ready to go and you've got a few days of food and water and medications and things like that set aside, you may be more able to kind of peel away from your home and your family and your pets to come out and help the community if you are trained and ready. So that's why we recommend that. That's the other culture that we're really trying to support here, is that a culture of preparedness amongst this group. So please go ahead and take that training if you can. It's available online. It takes about an hour, maybe an hour and a half to do. And then it's also offered throughout the community live and in person. And if you go in person, often they will give out disaster relief kits or preparedness kits for you and your family that are full of all kinds of tools that you might be able to use during a disaster. So those can be helpful as well. We recommend that. That you go to those trainings as well. So that's it on the training piece. I think, am I missing anything else, Amy, on the document side, or Latifa? All right, we're going to move on then. We do want to bring your attention then to the image gallery. And if you click on this, this is where you have a chance to view pictures of yourself at one of the if you made it to one of the live exercises. That's what we're seeing here. So we'll record most of the kinds of events that we participate in together at in these kinds of events on this page. And we assume that we have your permission for that. So if your picture shows up and you don't like it there, please let us know and we will be happy to take it down. Some of these are candid shots, so we never make promises about how good your smile looks or what your clothing looked like that for that day. But you get a sense of the kinds of activities we've been participating in together at these events. The calendar is our next item. And again, this is just a typical calendar, but the nice thing about these is that you can grab the items on the calendar. If you have interest in them, you can find the calendar item for your Outlook calendar or for your iCal program or your Google Calendar if you want to use those, right? So you can grab these items and put them onto your own personal calendars if you'd like to, et cetera. So just keep in mind that those also show up, as we mentioned, on the home page as they're coming up as well. And I think that may be about the end of what we have available for you today. So I'll show the preview again here because you won't have some of the options for editing that I do at this stage. Please note here that you can set this up for mobile if you're looking at it on your phone or on an iPad, and desktop certainly for a laptop or a desktop computer is a great way to do that as well. All right, with that,
Can you go to the calendar and just show the links?
sure. I was a little concerned because the last time I did that, the link didn't work. So let's look.
Yeah, I don't know why it didn't.
Here's the one for today, 3 o'clock to 4 o'clock, the OMH Responder Meeting. Let's click on that and see what happens. Oh, look, there it is. It comes up the way I thought it would, and it gives you all the meeting information. It gives you the link for the meeting, so you can make copies of those. And somewhere on here, there should be an iCal capacity, but I'm not sure that I see where that is. But we'll invite you to explore this as you will, and use this as you want to get in touch with us or to join a training or join a meeting. something or anything that's on the calendar. Okay. I saw a little close button here, so I'll hit that. Close. That takes us back to the calendar. Yeah, good. And then you do see a smaller version of the navigation bar over here on the left. So we'll go back to the home here. All right. Again, I'm not seeing questions. So if there are any that we need to respond to, or does anybody want us to take a look at anything in more depth, we can do that. Latifa, Amy, anything in the chat? I get shaking heads. Okay. All right.
No.
Well, with that, I'll stop the share then. Does anyone have questions or thought? Oh, okay. There are some questions. I do see some in there. Someone has asked, how do retirees get access? This is a great
Oh, I
question.
missed that one.
We thought you would have access to this already,
I don't
but
see
what
that
we
question.
realized was that you have not gotten your OMH email addresses yet. We are working on that this week. And once you get, if you are a retiree, you get your new OMH email address, then we'll be able to add you in and you will get the same invitation that others have gotten as well. So good question. Thanks for asking it. And our apologies for not having that in place the way we thought we would by now. Oh, I see, Amy, you did answer that. Okay, sorry. All right, I don't see any other questions then. So with that, I think we can certainly end the SharePoint section of our meeting together. Anything else we want to cover today, everyone?
Just a note to keep your eyes open. We're going to send out another brief responder survey. We want to gather some additional information from responders. So when that's ready, that will be sent out.
And one other thing to keep an eye out for, you all have gotten to save the date for the April 21st live exercise. The actual invitation with the registration link will be out shortly. We are waiting on one item for that, and that is we're still trying to confirm whether or not we can offer CEUs for that event. Once we confirm that, then we will send the invitation out. So that should be imminent, but it might
Hey,
not be till the
Skip,
end of this week. Yes, who
can
is
you
that, Paula?
just describe a little bit that live exercise that it's just
Yeah,
right? Because it's sort of a step up from the past ones.
it is, and thanks for bringing that up, Paula. So as Latifa mentioned, this will be our fourth live exercise. And I think the first thing and last thing we want to say on this is that we want to encourage people who have not participated in these before to come to this one if you can. So these have evolved over time. Most of them have been centered on some form of a mass casualty event, because that's really the kind of event where we're going to see the most need. One of the things that we're moving toward is engaging with other state agencies to provide this kind of effort as well. So we've been fairly centered just on the disaster mental health folks from OMH on the first two or three. But now we're expanding. And if you were at the third one, you noted that there were some other agencies involved at that one as well. We had Red Cross partners, we had state fire partners, we had a few others show up. This time we have a new element, and that is that there's a criminal element in the scenario. And that has made it possible for the Office of Victim Services, the New York State Office of Victim Services, to engage in this event as well and bring their resources too, because we may be dealing with folks from coroners' offices. We may be dealing with the state police or other investigative agencies who are also trying to interview survivors, right, or family members. So you can imagine that there's an even higher level of stress and anxiety as people are being asked to tell their stories over and over after an event like this. So we've really wanted to try to simulate as best as possible what really might be happening, and so that you have an idea of what to expect when something like this happens. I'm also going to say, just kind of give you a hint. The state and the federal government are doing a really good job of preparing for this summer. And this summer is a special summer because not only is it marking the 250th anniversary of the country, and we're doing that in New York State. If you can imagine what happens on the 4th of July in New York City and cities across the country and across our state. Anyway, think about New York City. But in addition to those celebrations in New York City and in the surrounding area, we're also going to be hosting the finals for the World Cup soccer, the FIFA soccer piece. That all happens that same week. And at the same time, all the tall ships from around the world are going to be in New York Harbor. And so there's going to be a naval review, and all of that's happening in the New York City area at the same time. And so we are preparing for, that this might be a target, right? Especially given our current world political situation, right? We're on high alert. And so coming in April could help you be ready for something that lights off around those celebrations as well. So we certainly hope that nothing happens, but we want to be prepared. We want to hope for the best and prepare for the worst, right? So we're doing that now, and we think that this training opportunity is a way to do that as well. Paula, is there anything else that you wanted to add about that?
No, it's actually a very cool time, right? I mean, it's a lot of activity in the summer, but I think just to say, just because uh, things are happening downstate, what will happen is there'll be these soccer watch parties everywhere. So there'll be probably just a lot of tourism and travel throughout New York State this summer. People, coming to say, oh, let's watch that game together. They talk about outdoor soccer parties, but I think the vacation and the tourists will increase. And we all know what happens when that happens, right? There's just a lot more people. There's a lot of different activities. Um, and I think it's just going to be a very busy summer. So I'm glad that we're preparing, and I'm glad we're doing a drill. This drill we had wanted to do, and I think our timing is perfect because we're also going to involve, another state agency because this drill will have a criminal element. So the Office of Victim Services will be involved, and then you folks will be able to see how all that interaction looks in a family and friends center. So it's a lot of interesting stuff coming up.
Thank you, Paula. You're absolutely right. Yeah, the whole state's going to be on alert for this, and even the FIFA games, not just in New York City or Giant Stadium in New Jersey, but up in Montreal too, right? Not far away from us, right? So the whole area is going to be involved in that. You're absolutely right. Okay. Other questions? Other thoughts? I do see another question in the chat. So retirees paying your own travel. No, retirees, you are employees. You retired, but you're back in on an hourly basis, and we will cover your travel. So it is helpful for you to have that T card. And yeah, you should have your own email account soon. So, but you should not have to pay for travel. If you are traveling more than 50 miles to Oriskany, that's when you qualify for an overnight. So if you're less than 50 miles, we figure that's a day trip for you. But if you're coming more than 50 miles, and what's really nice about these is that because we're partnering with the Division of Homeland Security and Emergency Services, and they operate the facility that we're using, they are actually paying for the overnight hotels. So you shouldn't even have to put any money out at all, whether it's state money or not, because it's already being covered. So I just want you to be aware of that. You'll have to make the arrangement. And if you have questions about that, please let us know. You'll have to arrange your hotel, but it will be from a list of hotels that Dishes already has agreements with, and you should not have to pay anything when you set that up or when you check out. But we'll give you more information about that when you register. So if you are planning to come with us, you'll learn about that shortly after your registration. Okay. I think we may be done, are we? Anybody else want to add anything before we sign off and say thank you again for all of your great engagement levels and your commitments to this program. We're so grateful for you. We love having you available. We love interacting with you, and we love it when you deploy. So please be on the lookout for those canvases when they come out, and please look for a way to deploy if you haven't yet already, because we certainly would love to have you out there in the field with us. Okay. Latifa, good to go?
Yes, again, thank you, everyone. Please reach out to us if you have questions or thoughts that didn't come to mind in this moment, but we are here and here to support. So thank you very much. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to join us.
Thanks,
Thank
everybody.
you.
Have a great
All
rest of
right.
the week.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye now. And we should stop recording.